Hello, and welcome to part 2. So we've got our sketch and now I'm going to start the painting process. So I'm just going to bring down the opacity of my sketch. Okay, and I've got Jessica Jones here for all my colours. So let's try and do this in, I don't know, let's try and do it in oil paint. Is that going to be a funny experiment? Right, so I'm going to get some colour. What I tend to do is I go for the mid-tones. So that's my mid-tone colour I'm going to pick. And let's just see how that looks. It's a bit dark, a bit too dark. This one. That's not bad, let's stick with that. So I'm just going to make the brush a bit bigger. There we go. So just make sure I'm on a separate layer, yes. So here's my thinking, is to block out the character, like so. Okay, I think I will move this one over. There you go. So by moving the layer above the paint, it means that now I can go back to my paint layer and I can do all of this, but I won't cover up the image that I'm using. Okay, so what I want to do is I just want to get all the right colours in. So I'll do the shadows first. Just bring the opacity down now and the size down a little bit. Okay, so now I'm just going to go around. I'll make the brush slightly bigger. So just putting in all the shadows, bring the opacity up a bit more. Doesn't matter if I go off slightly because I can change that. But I'm trying to create a 3D form, something I can work with. And as you get better, what's going to happen is the brush shape will get smaller and smaller as more details start to emerge. So because I've gone here and I've made it a bit too dark, too low, because I wasn't paying attention over here, I can just grab this colour and I can just use it like a eraser tool and bring that back up to where I need it. Okay, that'll change again because I'm going to do the highlights, but generally, you know, you just want to carry on just getting in all the shadows first, or at least that's how I do it. See, that's too dark, that's far too dark. Let's bring the opacity down a bit more. Anything now. Let's just get this colour. That's better. Let's go a bit under here. And like the sketch before, I'm just mapping out where things go. It's not all set in stone, so it's just helps me figure stuff out. Got to remember the shadow underneath the nose here. There we go. Now I'll do some of these highlights. Start with that bit up there. Okay, and then very quickly you're creating a 3D form. Now I will be using the smudging tool, the blending tool, just to kind of like take the edge off some things. Okay, and that's kind of like a sort of yellowish thing going on there. Looks too dark. I might exaggerate that. That's kind of the yellow that I'm looking for, and there's a bit of that there as well. And possibly here. Surprising the kind of colours that you do start to see inside your pictures when you really start examining them. There we are. And then over here it's a bit more pink, potentially like a kind of purplish. I'm going to say, is it that? A bit more orange? No, it's a bit more here, but very faint. Very, very faint. And darker. Say there. And if I've got the opacity down, then I'll basically be able to put this colour in gradually. It shouldn't wreck my picture too much. I've got it wrong. There we go. Bring that up a little bit. That's a bit brighter there. There we go. Look at these lips. So I'll pick the mid-tone again for the lips. Don't usually use oil, but I thought I'd give it a go and see what effects I can get. So there, that's my thinking with that. Right, ooh, got my head in the way of the camera there, apologise. Right, get some of the highlighted colour there. So what happens is you get more and more details in, and your brush size generally starts to get smaller because you start working on the little bits. But at the moment I'm just working on the big bits, just trying to work. Can't get that. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to smudge that a little bit. Blend it all in. So this is the smudge tool up here. And generally a top lip is slightly darker than the bottom lip. So let's try and if you like what you see, just remember to leave a comment below and a like and stuff, and I can do more of this sort of thing. Looks like nothing is coming off this brush. There we go, something's coming off this brush. I think that's okay. Right, so now it's starting to get more interesting. So I'm just going to reduce the opacity a bit more of the line art. Let's make sure I've done the line art, not my face. So that's what I've got so far. Now I'm going to do her eye colour. Make that slightly brighter. And let's see how we go with this. Not well. I think I'm going to change my paint. Let's do the watercolour. That seems better. The opacity up. Why didn't I just do that? Okay, so the other rule that I tend to stick by is paint what you see. Don't imagine you're seeing something and think, oh, well, that's not right, I'll do what I want, because when you keep doing that, it doesn't look right at all by the end, and it's frustrating because you've got to do it again. So hopefully you've noticed that I'm grabbing a lot of the colours from the photograph. That's just for speed, really. You can just make up the colours and have a very different looking picture, but because this is a tutorial, I just want to show you what I do to get things to work. But as you can tell, it's very important for me. Might be important for you. You might be able to do it without as much effort as I do, but I have to map it out. I've tried so many times to not do the drawing before the painting, and it adds hours to your picture, unnecessary hours. And I love doing this as a hobby, and that's okay, but I really don't enjoy wasting time. It's like I'd like to have a good picture at the end of it. So it's just something that I do. I'm going to bring the opacity down a little bit. I've got to do the nose. I've got to do here. Now, I'm not fast forwarding for a reason, because I don't know if I'm doing stuff that you really want to see, but because this is sort of an experiment, if people want me to fast forward through bits, I can do, but I do have videos where it's basically a time lapse and you just see things happen quick. So maybe you'll look at this and then you'll go and have a look at my other videos and see what goes on there. Or maybe they don't appeal to you at all. Just let me know in the comments below what you think of this video, how you think it can be improved, or whatnot. I have decided to do it as a part-based video so that we don't wind up with too much going on, you know, me boring you. Okay, so I'm just going to blend out these areas here. Yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe, and maybe you'd want to like tell a friend that I do this sort of thing and it might help. But generally, I just want to help people do better with their art, because I know what it's like. I've been there trying to get my art to be good. Now I feel that I'm at a point where it's great, and I can draw more what I want than I ever used to, and that's obviously very important. You know, everybody knows that stage where you keep looking at something and you're trying to do it and you can't do it. And the difference is the ones that stick to it and keep trying and trying and trying are the ones that will eventually succeed at it. That's just art. It's just constantly practice, practice, practice. It's the only way your art's going to get better. Right, so the other thing that helps with bringing these characters to life is the contrast. So now I'm going to start doing the eyes more. Bring up that. So I brought up the opacity so that way I don't have to work so hard to get a strong black appear. Bring up even more actually. Too dark down there. But yeah, I do this with film characters, so I do enjoy good films, and especially with lockdown. I've been watching a lot of films. Watched The Matrix last night again for the first time in years, and I'd forgotten just how great that film is. Not sure the leather outfits are lasting the test of time, but the effort and concept of that film is amazing. I wasn't keen on the sequels, but I might give them another go as well. Maybe I wasn't mature enough at the time to really understand what was being said. So yeah, let me know of any good films you've seen over your lockdowns. I'm sure everyone's been in a lockdown now. Obviously you can tell that I'm English, so we're constantly in lockdowns at the moment until our government learns how to do these things properly. I think it's just the way it's going to be in this country. So yeah, I'm turning this entire thing into a part series. Just grab some of a similar highlight I'm trying to do around here where there's a slight brightness. So I'm going to grab that there. I'm just going to incorporate that into this. Might be a bit too bright, that. So when I've got the colour right but it's too bright, I just bring the opacity down and it's not quite so dramatic and I can build it up slower. That does tend to help. But yeah, hopefully we'll all be able to beat this coronavirus and get back to a normality. And you can start seeing people again. I have to say, I do miss the pub. I do miss seeing people. Haven't seen my mum in a really long time. There are people in some serious situations that are so bad that you just think, oh, I haven't got it bad, I've got it alright. So I can't complain. Or at least that's how I think. I can't complain. I should not complain. So it's just a case for me of just focus on doing my YouTube, and we'll all get through this at some point, I'm sure. And we can enact all those plans we've got going on in our lives, all those plans we've all built up, all those holidays we're fantasising about. Right, just going to do a slightly higher white. Okay, just got a little bit of pin light in her eye there. Just bring up the opacity to kind of bring out that. There we go. And I don't know what this is called, just basically the pinky cornery bit of her eye. Let's call it the pinky cornery bit. Try and capture that in there. So I'll bring down the opacity again because I don't want to overpower what I'm doing. But it does add a good depth of realism there. I keep tapping the stand with my head, so I hope I'm not ruining anything for anyone. But this is all just experimental stuff. And if you like what you see, let me know and I'll just carry on doing it. I'm not sure about this eye, but I think it is in the right place. Right, so I'm going to do a bit of a sort of yellowy white highlight. Let's see how that goes. So she's got this going down. Bring up the opacity. I can't really see what's going on because I'm drawing quite far away, so that I don't get my head in the camera. Because anybody who sort of does art does tend to know that you do get your head quite close to your picture, don't you, when you're doing it? Okay. Bring down the opacity, and then I can put in little glimmers of highlight there. I'm going to put some highlights in her lips. Sorry, I do go quiet. I do go a little bit quiet when I'm doing this stuff. I don't mean to. Just concentrating. Capture these bags. Late nights and all that boozing that she does. I can't remember actually. I can't remember what her reason was for having the special power of strength. You have to remind me in the comments. Okay, let's see how that looks without that on. I think we're getting there. Okay, so I'll see you in part 3. Bye.